Hi, I'm Kiante, and I'm bringing you here a strategic FPvod analysis of a game that I played on the Fish server. It's a PvP played on Fighting Spirit, and the idea of this commentary will be to demonstrate the 12 Nexus build order that one other wrote a thread about on the Brood War Strategy forums on Team Liquid, and explain how the game went, the reasons I made the decisions that I made, and hopefully you can take away some of this and use it in your own play wherever you're playing Brood War. Now let's have a look here. I'm going to try and aim this towards low level players because I'm probably not good enough to really comment on really complicated bits of strategy. I'm just a C+ player myself, so you can see how I'm spamming a lot. That's for no particular reason. Pretty much technically it's to warm up your hands. It really doesn't warm up your hands. A heater does that. It's just a habit for me at this point, and it's not something you should be trying to incorporate into your game if you're not already doing it. As for splitting your probes at the start of the game, I use a method where I literally just click, I box all my probes and move them, and then just click on 3 ones while they're moving and put them onto separate patches. I find that's the easiest way for me to split, and yeah, you should try that as well. If you're using a cloning method at the moment, I think that's actually a little bit harder and requires more clicking and better mouse accuracy. So you can see my pylon placement here. I put it in between my gas and my Nexus. Notice how I put it 1 hex to the left of the right hand corner of the Nexus. I did that because miners on gas go from the right hand side of the gas geyser, and if you put it on the right hand side of the Nexus, it would mana that gas and make it mine slower. I put it there so my probe doesn't have to move very far, and it also allows me to have good flexibility in putting buildings around it. I can put gateways on the right hand side and then tech on the left hand side over in the mineral line. And I can use the Slabinates core there to actually block off access if you're being harassed by Zerglings or Zealots or something like that. So I find it's a really good all-purpose pylon placement. Now with the 12 Nexus, obviously on 12 you get a Nexus, so you send out the probe that gets built that starts your supply on 12. And once you do that, you actually stop producing probes for a second until you get 150 minerals and drop a gateway. It's supposed to be 12 Nexus, 12 gateway, 14 gateway, and then 15 pylon. You see I'm dropping it here. I'm leaving 1 space in between the Nexus and the gateway. That's so that units don't get blocked in by accident. I find that if you do it this way, you never ever have units getting blocked, which is a really good thing. So everyone should have like a system for their gateways, a system for their base setup, hopefully keeping tech and gateways separate. Now I scouted after the Nexus, and you can see I actually found him first, which is really good for me, because I get to see what he's doing. Now you can see that the core has gone up before the pylon, which means that he's not getting a Zealot first, and that means that I'm relatively clear of really early harass before I get a Zealot. If he had made a Zealot first and sent it straight to my base, I would just have a Zealot out in time. Now the idea with this build is that you get 5 Zealots out really quickly, pumping from those gateways. You use them to attack, and as a result get scouting information that helps you make the decisions that take you through the rest of the game. You can see his scouting worker just got to me. It's important that you note that scouting worker. If it goes anywhere, check for proxies. If they proxy something, mirror it. If they proxy 2 gateways, make 2 more gateways of your own. You can cut probes as much as you want at that point, because you just have to stay alive and you win the game. Now you can notice when I sent probes to my natural to mine, I actually split them up. You should also do it as well, because probes can get really stuck. If you send them all to 1 patch, it'll take them a long time to actually get sorted out into separate patches, but if you split them on the way, I use cloning, which is basically where you shift click off probes from a group and then click a different patch. Shift click off a probe, click a different patch. I use that to transfer to my natural, and that way it gets up and mining faster and doesn't delay your economy as much. Now once you've got those 2 gateways down, the idea is to get an extra pylon, gas, core, and forge up as soon as possible. The order is kind of, if you know something like DTs are coming really soon, or there's a 10-15 gateway build, then you want to basically get the forge first. Otherwise you want to go gas, core, forge. The idea being that you can get goons out as soon as possible to help you defend from his goons. Now you can see I'm actually holding my zealots back a little bit there, but he's come up to meet me. Now the idea is I'm just going to basically attack, force him back into his base, and make sure I scout everything in his base to find out what's going on, and try and kill a few probes if I can. In the meantime, I'll get a few cannons up. They're basically to defend from a counterattack. That's sort of basically while my economy is kicking in, just to keep me safe. You can see he's got a fairly high goon count, and he's researching range there. Probably going to finish soon, and that'll make his goons a lot more effective against my zealots and cannons. So at this point, I've seen 2 gateways and no other tech, which means he's making a lot of goons, which tells me that it's probably not DTs. I'm making a few cannons because I don't want to die to those goons, and I'm going to assume that he's either going to go for an expansion, more gateways, or a robo. They're the most likely options at this point. If he was going for Templar, he wouldn't have that many goons, and he does, so I don't have to worry. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to get a robo of my own. The idea with this game is that I can use that robo to do a Reaver harass, and use that to help break any contain that he gets on my natural. I knew that he would try and contain because of his high goon count. And when you have that kind of goon count, you want to try and keep the other player in their base while expanding yourself, and try and make it costly for them to move out of their base. So that's what he will try and do this game. And normally I wouldn't go for Reavers. You can see I'm just researching range. That's a little bit late. I should have honestly had range a little bit earlier. You can't honestly fight with goons that don't have range against goons with range. So until I do have range, there's 100% chance that I can't get out of my base, at least not cost efficiently. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to get up a Reaver, an Observer, and I'll either attack, if I'm in this situation and I've got a Reaver, either I'll use that Reaver to help me break out of those goons at my front, or if I have good scouting information, like say from an Observer, I can use that Reaver to go down and harass his base and use that as a method to force him away, because he'll be forced to go back and defend his base or all-in attack on my natural. Either way, I should have enough forces to either break out once he goes back to defend, or hold the all-in attack if it does come. Now, see I've got 4 gateways up. That's a good number of gateways while you are getting your tech up, like something like Reavers. Reavers are really expensive on minerals and gas, so if you are producing Reavers from a robo, 4 to 5 gateways is probably all you need until you completely saturated. Then you can go up to about 6. If you go anywhere over 6 plus a robo, you're pretty much going all in, because you can't honestly support that for a long period of time on just 2 bases. And you're better off going up to 6 tops and then looking to try and get an expansion. Now the trick with this build is that you can't let the other player be too greedy. You can see that he's constantly adding goons to the contain. The red mark keeps getting bigger. I add that extra cannon just in case he's going to go for an all-in. It's an extra layer of defense that I have. If he only had, say, like 5 goons and I just didn't see any more, he could just be expanded. He could have double expanded behind that. And it's important that once you have enough goons to break out, that you immediately break out and get a scout out, get probes out to scout for hidden bases, which are a really common way to come back in the PvP matchup. Now, I've got this Observer going to his base, so I'll just be trying to see how many gateways he's got and what sort of tech he's got. You see he's gone for Robo, like I suggested, and only 2 gateways there, which suggests to me that he's got an expansion, and I just confirmed that there. So now that I know he's expanded, I know that my timing of having more units is coming up, because I've been on more expansion. I've been on more minerals mining for a longer period of time, and on more gateways. So what I'm going to do is, because I've got that Observer in his base, you see here he's attacking. It's actually a really weird time to attack, because it's pretty much my timing as opposed to his, and his attack timing would have been much earlier, before my full gateways kicked in. Anyway, my Reaver's going down to harass. The idea was to draw him out of my base, but he decided to attack anyway, which is weird. I noticed when you drop a Reaver, you kind of try and target a probe that's in the middle of a group and not moving, and hopefully it'll be a probe that's not being pulled away. And you can see here the Bruce pretty much just cleaned up all his probes and he GG's and leaves the game. So I know that was fairly short, but it's my first attempt at this kind of thing. So I thought I'd just pick a nice, short, concise game, and I hope that someone out there finds it useful. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I'm Kiante, and thanks for listening.